Good day, everyone. My name is Jose Ballestero, and I'm joined by Sara Spajic, and we represent Group 15. Today, we will talk a little about our Glue Connector, a health sensing and intervention system for reducing meal logging fatigue in diabetes care. Continuous glucose monitors are very good at recording what blood glucose does through the day, but they do not automatically explain why those changes happen. Oftentimes, there's a missing piece called the food. Right now, the context depends on the patient manually logging meals, stop logging meals, estimating carbohydrates, serving sizes, describing the food, entering into an app. That becomes exhausting every meal, every snack, every day. As a personal note, I want to comment on how difficult it has been for me to track my foods. Sometimes I don't know the actual size, the portions on the amounts that I'm eating, as well as the amount of nutrients that I'm consuming. The idea of Glue Connector is to alleviate some of that stress and tension and make it a reliable tool that can be used anywhere. Prior work shows that self-tracking drops over time, and digital diabetes tools can add new demands on attention. That is the logging fatigue, the problem we are targeting. The meals that go unlogged are exactly the unexplained spikes a doctor cannot interpret later. So our design borrows from a just-in-time behavior change idea. Place the logging opportunity where the behavior is already happening, instead of asking someone to reconstruct it hours later. The key insight is that the clinically useful unit is not just a carb number. 40 grams of candy and 40 grams of lentils can lead to very different glucose responses. What matters is the tagged meal, what the person ate, when they ate it, and how it relates to the glucose curve. Glue Connector captures that context with as little effort as possible. The phone detects when eating may be happening, prompts the user in the moment, lets them log in with a photo, a voice memo, manual entry, and then Glue Connector estimates meal information with AI, then saves an editable meal record for later review just in case there were any mistakes. That jumps us right into our methodology. We built the prototype around 3 stages: sense, infer, and intervene. For sensing, we use the phone microphone as a passive eating cue. The Flutter app streams 16 kHz mono audio into on-device detector. Audio is processed locally, not uploaded to the cloud, and the app keeps the detection event rather than saving raw audio. For the detector, we integrated YumNet, a TensorFlow-like model trained to recognize hundreds of everyday sounds. Because YumNet is not eating specific, we selected classes such as chewing, biting, crunching, cutlery, and chopping. The app sums those probabilities, confirms enough positive frames in a short window, and uses a cooldown so the user is not repetitively alerted. During testing, it also shows the top 5 detected sound categories. If YumNet is unavailable, the app falls back to a simpler loudness detector. For inference and intervention, the system treats a detection event as a possible unlocked meal and immediately fires an eating detected alert. The timestamp matters because it lets the meal line up with the glucose curve. The user can take a photo, leave a quick voice memo, or enter a meal manually. For photo and voice pass, Google Gemini estimates food identity, carbohydrates, glycemic index, and a short explanation. The estimate is editable because the AI output is decision support, not ground truth. The current result is that the sensing pipeline runs end-to-end on a physical iPhone. YumNet is integrated on device, the app shows the model on top categories during testing, and the detector can fire on real eating and events as a chosen sensitivity threshold. That end-to-end piece matters because it changes meal logging from a memory task into a confirmation task. Instead of asking the patient to remember later, the phone notices a likely eating moment and gives them a lightweight opportunity to capture the meal while the context is still fresh. In the demo flow, the user gets the eating alert, continues into the meal log, captures the meal with a photo or voice note, reviews the AI estimate, and saves it as a structured meal entry. The goal is to not make logging perfect, it is to make missed meal gaps much smaller. There are also clear limitations. YumNet is a general-purpose audio classifier, so precision near the threshold is imperfect. Talking, television, cutlery, and cooking noises can overlap with eating sounds. The current version uses one threshold for every user, while a per-user threshold would likely improve accuracy. For the clinical data path, meal records can be represented as FHIRs, Nutrition Intake Resources. Because they include food identity, carbohydrates, timing, and meal types, future work is to strengthen the clinically dashboard, connect to hospital AHR workflows, and evaluate the downstream glucose outcomes. In short, Glue Connector is not trying to dose insulin or replace clinical judgment. It's trying to capture the missing context behind the glucose curve. Next, we'll show the prototype and what we learned from building the sensing pipeline.
And here's what we have working today. The full sensing pipeline runs end-to-end on a physical iPhone. The detector fires reliably on real eating events at our chosen sensitivity threshold. You can see this in the screenshots on the poster. The first shows the CGM view with the current glucose reading. The middle shows the app in eating detected state. This is the just-in-time adaptive intervention prompt, asking the user to snap or say what they're eating. The third shows the Gemini carb estimation. The user snapped a photo of chicken and rice, and Gemini estimated 55 grams of carbs, which the user can confirm or edit before it's logged. For our discussion, first, YamNet is a general-purpose sound classifier, so it wasn't specifically trained on eating. Its precision is at more detection, right at the boundary between eating and not eating, so it's imperfect. False alarms are inherent to using a phone microphone in the real world. There might be a lot of talking or television noise, any background noise like crumpling. That all produce sounds that overlap with the eating classes. Our cooldown period limits how often the user gets an unnecessary prompt. So if the user takes a pause while eating and then continues to eat again, they won't get multiple alerts. Finally, we made the deliberate choice to run all audio processing on the phone. Nothing leaves the device unless the user chooses to save the meal. So it's more about privacy at the cost of some accuracy that a cloud model might offer. And where we apply mindless computing is that the detection and the prompt timing are fully passive. So the phone notices when the user is eating, but the capture and the confirmation remain deliberate because ultimately our idea was that the meal data would feed into clinical decisions, so they need that user verified accuracy. And in conclusion, our takeaway is that this sensing works. The phone can passively detect when someone is likely eating and prompt them in the moment without requiring conscious effort. This is the piece of the pipeline that has to work before anything downstream matters. So for deferred future work, we scoped the clinician dashboard, hospital EHR integration, and evaluation of downstream glucose outcomes as later phases. These become traceable once the sensing layer is reliably tuned. Thank you very much for watching.